Hey, it's Mr. Bass. I'm excited today because I got the BIOSPAWN Lures Essentials Kit. And when I saw on the Carl's Tackle Club website this BIOSPAWN Essentials Kit, I said to myself, man, I got to try this because BIOSPAWN has been around a long time. And they're just very well known for high quality soft plastics with that amazing bio scent. And you know, right now, what's everybody talking about? Max scent, Max scent, Max scent, Max scent. And hey, Max scent's great. It's all the rage. It works great. It's fantastic. But if you're a competitive fisherman or you fish on pressured waters and you know all your buddies are throwing Max scent, guess what? It's not going to be too long before those fish start to get acclimated to Max scent. And if you're throwing bio scent, BIOSPAWN bio scent, you might actually have an edge right now. I'm also really excited today because today's video is sponsored by Ketchco, and BIOSPAWN is part of the Ketchco company. And this box, what I'm going to do with the BIOSPAWN Essentials Kit today is I am going to show you what's in it in case you want to buy one for yourself. And I'm also going to show you how I plan on rigging each of these lures. So when you get the Essentials Kit, you get a little flyer here that basically shows you everything that's in the kit, and that's pretty much it. I don't think this varies. I think it's the same stuff in every kit, to my knowledge. As far as pricing goes, the price of this kit is $29.99, but if you're a member of the Carl's Club, you can save about 30% on that. The price is $20.99 if you're a member of Carl's Club. Carl's Club's a pretty good deal too. It only costs you $40 a year, which is about $4 a month, and you get 30% off of practically everything on the website. You get special member deals. You get tackle insurance now. Literally, if you lose your bait in the lake or it gets broken or whatever, they will replace up to 4 lures per year as part of the Carl's Tackle Insurance Plan. And you don't pay anything extra for that. I've got a link in the description. If you want to click on that, it'll take you to Carl's and you can sign up for Carl's Tackle Club. So most of you who probably have heard of BIOSPAWN, know about BIOSPAWN, have used BIOSPAWN, think of them as a soft plastics company. And that's because pretty much all they've ever made are soft plastics. Until now. That's right. Now they are making a hard bait. And it's a lipless crankbait. They call it the Rattlebot. And there's 2 versions. There's a crawdad version and there's a bait fish version. In this box, it's the Rattlebot Craw in hot sauce color. And so it's made to look like a crawdad. It's got, they're trying to give it anatomically correct features. They put eyes towards the back of the lure where the crawdad eyes would be on a regular crawdad bait. And it's a 1/2 ounce rattle trap, basically, lipless crankbait. They've got 16 colors available for this thing. And it costs $8.49 if you're a member of Carl's Club. $5.94. It's got a single BB in it. Hear that sound that it makes. And the way I fish my lipless crankbaits is I fish them on a bait caster, and I tend to like to have a bait caster that's 7-to-1, maybe even a little higher, so that you can burn it through the tops of the grass if you need to. I also fish mine on either a parabolic rod because of the treble hooks. That's if I'm fishing it with braid, or if I'm fishing with fluoro. If I fish it with mono, then I can go with a less moderate rod, kind of like a fast action rod. So that's the Rattlebot Craw. Next up is the Plasma Tail. And this color is sprayed grass. Let me show you this side so that you can see it a little better. And when I look at this, I think drop shot all the way. This to me is a drop shot lure. Now, could you fish it other way? Sure. You could shaky head fish this. You could Texas rig this. You could put it on a Ned rig. There's a lot of different ways to fish this, but for me, talk about how's Mr. Bass gonna rig it, I'm gonna put it on a drop shot. Let me pull it out here so you can get a little closer look. You know, sprayed grass is kind of like a green pumpkin candy. It's got a lot of colors in it, a lot of flecks and color. It's a very good color, works all over the country. I've grabbed my drop shot rod, and here is my leader, if you will. I've got my weight right here, and then here's my drop shot hook. This is an octopus style hook. And usually when I'm fishing drop shot and an octopus hook, I'm gonna start with maybe a size 1, go up to a 2, even maybe a 2/0. This is about a size 2. And the deal with a drop shot is you've got a weight below your bait. And then you want your bait, your hook, to come out horizontally so that this bait has a very lifelike horizontal look in the water. So let me show you how I'm going to rig this. I'm just going to simply take the plasma tail and nose hook it. And what I mean by nose hook it is I'm just literally going to put the hook point right through the bait, just like so. That's it. That's all you do. You throw it out there, and this thing's just gonna hover and float and swim just like this. And I guarantee you, with that bio scent, this thing is gonna catch you some fish, especially smallies. This is a smallmouth bass killer. Great smallie color as well. So the plasma tail is 4.5 inches long. They also have a 6.5 inch long version. The 6.5 inch long version is the one that I would probably put on a shaky head. It costs $5.69. If you're a Carl's Club member, $3.98. Next is the Rattlebot Craw, and this is a crawdad style bait. It's also, you could say, very comparable to a beaver style bait in just kind of the shape it's in. This would be a good punching bait if you're punching through mats and thick cover. It's going to make a nice jig trailer. You could Carolina rig this. You could shaky head this if you wanted. There's a ton of different ways to fish a crawdad style bait. The Jika rig, the Tokyo rig, all work great with a craw style bait. And of course, jig trailers are another great way to fish a craw style lure. This thing's 4 inches long, and they've got 17 different colors. This is just their green pumpkin, which is kind of the standard go-to color. And it's got the bio scent in it as well. So how am I going to fish this crawdad? Most of the time, I'm either going to fish it Texas rigged, or I'm going to fish it on the back of a jig. Let me show you both of those. So here is a zero gravity jig that came in my mystery tackle box this month. And this really intrigues me because it's made to fall slowly, 1 foot every 3 seconds. And this color looks like it would go great with this green pumpkin Rattlebot Craw. There's a 4/0 hook on here. Let's take this jig out. So here's the zero gravity jig. Now what I normally am going to do is I'm going to look at the jig, and you can see it's a 4/0 hook, but it's pretty short shanked. So if I were to put the full-sized Rattlebot Craw on there, it would be way too big. So I'm going to cut this down. I'm probably going to cut it in about half of the body off. You can bite this off. I'll be civilized and actually use scissors on the video. So I'm just going to try to eyeball where I think I want this thing to come out at. Yeah, and I'm going to cut it off right here at this little deal. There you go, just like that. Thread it on. Push it on up there like so. And there you have it. A very nice, compact, slow falling jig with this Rattlebot Craw on as a trailer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all these appendages apart because I want a lot of that flapping action there for that jig. Normally when I'm flipping, I either use a flipping hook, or often I will use an EWG hook. In fact, probably more than 50% of the time I'm using the EWG hook. And there's no hard and fast rule of when I do which. One particular rule is if I'm really using a big, fat, thick flipping bait, this gives me a wider gap, so I may go to the wider gap. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with going with a straight shank flipping hook either. So when it comes to using the craw on a flipping hook, I'm not going to cut it down at all. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. And you're going to want to rig this so that it's on your hook like that. That's what you want it to look like. And all you do is just thread it on. You'll go in, put the hook point in through the top of the bait. And usually I'm just going to go about to where it starts to bend like that. And then I'm going to bring the hook point out, run the bait all the way up and over the keeper, then twist it back and slide it down on the keeper snug like that. And then I'm just going to look at where this lines up and just poke my lure in just like that. And the nice thing about the Rattlebot Craw, it has a very nice hook keeper here that your hook point sticks in very well. And that's the way I'm Texas rigging it. And you can just pitch that thing in around every stump and bush and tree and whatever you want. Just flip it right in there. Next is the 3.5 inch Exo pod. This is $5.69, $3.98 if you're part of Carl's Club. This color is Okeechobee Craw. Great looking color, great looking lure. Hands down, this might be my favorite BIOSPAWN lure. And this shape and profile of a bait is just off the charts amazing. This lure is so versatile. You can use it so many ways. You can fish it Texas rig, just like I showed you with the Rattlebot Craw. You can fish it on the back of a jig. You can fish it on the back of a chatterbait. You could fish it on the back of a spinnerbait. You can put this on a swim bait head and swim it. You can do so many things with this lure. It's unbelievable. And it's really, if you look at it, it kind of like ho-hum. It doesn't look flashy. It doesn't look fancy. It doesn't look special. But there is something about that, just the subtle simplicity of this bait, that makes it amazing. It's similar to a grub style bait with a couple of flappers on it. And grub style baits have been working for ever. It has this ribbed exoskeleton body that moves water quite well. It has these two connected pinchers that if a lot of times if I'm punching, I will leave them connected. If I put it on the back of a jig trailer, I'm going to separate it. And one of my favorite ways to fish this, like I said, is on the back of a chatterbait or a swim jig. And I found it's super, super effective on a swim jig because it gives you enough action to really entice the fish, but it's small and compact, and that also does not run off finicky fish. So let me show you this bait on the back of a swim jig, what it looks like. Here's a new swim jig that's just come out by Booyah called the Mobster. I'm really excited about. And this color is called the Fuzz, and I think it will go very, very well with this Okeechobee Craw trailer. We'll rig it on there, and basically this has a very nice hook slot right there that your hook can kind of basically help it be weedless. So you want to make sure that when you bring the hook point up, it comes up on the side with the hook slot, and it'll look great. Now, let me show you too. The length of this, same sort of thing. In my opinion, this is just a little too long for this bait. So I'm going to take about two of the ribs here, and I'm just going to bite them off. If I'm putting it on a swim bait head, I don't bite anything off. If I am Texas rigging it, I don't bite anything off. But when I put it in a jig trailer, as a jig trailer, I'm definitely going to bite it off. And all you do, just make sure you keep this as straight as you possibly can. Like so. Just thread it on there all the way. The hook point out. You want to keep your skirt strands kind of down and out of the way so that they're all laying the right direction. And that is what the finished product looks like. And a lot of times I'm going to trim the skirt down some. Okay, so I've trimmed up the skirt some so that you can kind of see what it looks like. And that little trailer will flat out catch you a ton of fish. It is an amazing bait, I promise you. That's the Exo Pod. And you can get the Exo Pod in 7 different colors. Next is another awesome bait, and this is the Exo Ribbon Worm. They make this in a 7-inch and a 10-inch. I haven't used the 10-inch is new, and I don't even know if it's completely out yet. But this 7-inch ribbon tail worm is a standard go-to worm. My 2 favorite types of worms are the stick bait, the Cinco style worm, and a ribbon tail worm. And geez, there's just so many ways to catch fish on a ribbon tail worm. And it's so simple. It's one of the simplest ways to fish out there. This color is candy red blue flake. I really like this kind of color. Any kind of a reddish plum-like tequila color, those are the kind of colors that I really prefer when it comes to a worm. This Exo Ribbon Worm is really great. It's got a very prominent exoskeleton ribs on this body to really move a lot of water. And of course that ribbon tail, the fish can't resist it. You can Texas rig this, you can shaky rig this, you can Carolina rig this. You can fish it so many ways. And I will fish this on a spinning setup and a bait casting setup, just depending upon what I'm in the mood for. Most of the time it's with my bait caster, Texas rigged. I'll put it on a worm hook and just throw it out there with a little weight. Usually I start with an 1/8 ounce and I'll bump up from there depending upon what I need for the rate of fall. But with a ribbon tail worm, I like kind of a slow rate of fall. So I go with that lighter weight first. And this thing's off the charts. It swims amazingly well. 9 times out of 10, this is what I'm going to be using when I'm fishing a ribbon tail worm. And this is Nrx Jigging Worm Rod. And usually I will have 15 to 20 pound test fluorocarbon. And you want a fast enough reel. The speed of the reel doesn't really matter until after you set the hook. And once you set the hook, you've got to retrieve, get the line in pretty quickly. So I'm going to use a 7 or 8 speed reel. And then this is just kind of the way I'm going to rig this bait. 9 times out of 10, this is how I fish a ribbon tail worm. I just Texas rig it just like this, get me a weight. This is a 1/4 ounce weight on here. Like I said, I'll start with an 1/8 ounce weight and work my way up from there. And I'll either use an EWG style hook like this one, this Harmony EWG style hook. This is a 3/0, but I'll use a 3/0, 4/0, even a 5/0 hook for a ribbon tail worm. You can catch fish all day long on that setup right there. Works great. Final product in the BIOSPAWN Essentials Kit is, yeah baby, Exo swim baits. I love swimming with plastic swim baits. It's one of my absolute favorites. Now this is the 4-inch, and this color is Pro Blue Red Pearl. Comes in a 6-pack. Great color. And there again, this is the thing I love about all these BIOSPAWN baits. There's so many different ways to fish them. My go-to way is I'm just going to put it on a ball head, jig head, and swim it. I've seen guys fish these on shaky heads. I've seen these definitely make trailers. You can put them on your chatterbait trailers. You can put them on swim jig trailers. You can put them, just all kinds of uses for these things. You can put it on a weighted swim bait hook. Like I said, I used to like to use the ball head jig, and I'm going to show you how I rig that right now. All right, so this is an awesome rod, the Megabass Valkyrie rod. This thing works great for chatterbaits, and it also works great for fishing little swim baits like this 4-inch Exo Swim. I also will fish this on fairly heavy line, 15 to 20 pound test. You can fish a swim bait too fast. You want a nice subtle action, and you don't want this bait flipping over. You want it to ride nice and smooth, and so you don't want to retrieve it super fast. That's about all you have to do though, is you just throw it out there and start winding it back in. Now this is a nice little jig head from Strike King. These work great for swim baits. I don't really care which one I use. Again, I start kind of light, 1/8 ounce, 1/4 ounce, 3/16 of an ounce. I'm not going to get much heavier than that 1/4 ounce or so most of the time in most of my applications. And this is kind of a perfect setup. And this Exo Swim, beautiful color. This thing, dude, it's an awesome bait. It's got the bio scent in it, and it also has these ribs on this they call it like a jointed exoskeleton, and it really is going to move and displace a lot of water. The fish are going to notice that. They're going to feel that, and I can't wait to go fish with this. I'm going to take it out and give it a try. You can get this in, I think they got like 13 different colors, and they've got 3 different sizes. So a lot to choose from. Excellent lure for sure. Lastly, as part of the BIOSPAWN Essentials Kit, you also get yourself a sticker. All this for 30 bucks and 20 bucks, 21 bucks if you're a member of Carl's Club. I am very happy with this box, and it's gonna catch me a lot of fish. I absolutely know it's gonna work. And it's great to have confidence in what you're fishing with, and that BIOSPAWN, that BioScent, it's the real deal. Don't forget, if you want to try out the mystery tackle box subscription, you can get your first box by using my code Mr. Bass. Links in the description below. 10 bucks for your first box. Pretty sweet deal. Thanks again. Please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. Until next time, this is Mr. Bass. Happy fishing!